Hello, you're welcome. This is Moment for Thought. I am Aliyu Baba Barrow. On the program, this time around, we're going to focus on the wealth of the nation. Talking about health, they say health is wealth. And that is the embodiment of life itself and the growth and development of any nation, and of course the global community. We have a focus or a searchlight on Nigeria. The recent happenings that calls for jubilation. The declaration of Nigeria or certification of Nigeria as a polio-free nation. You're welcome to the program. I have those who should know about the polio fight, let me put it that way, and of course the journey so far, and from there to where. When you talk about health, health is a highly dynamic area of the economy. I have with me in the studio Professor Abdulsalami Nasiri, Provost College of Health Sciences, University of Africa, Bayelsa, Nigeria. Vice Chairman, Experts Advisory Committee, COVID-19 FCT, Federal Capital Territory. DG, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, former DG, and pioneer in DG for that matter. Former Chairman, Presidential Task Force on Polio Eradication 2008, and I believe in 2009, I suppose. You're welcome, Prof.
Thank you very much.
And I have Dr. Kazim Mustafa, Vice Chairman, Nigeria National Polio Plus Committee. He is a physician and a Rotarian, a past district governor of Rotary International District 9125. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. When you have a Rotarian you meet, you come with a very big bag so that, you know, we are Oliver Twist all the time. So that we get prepared when we are keeping distance for these things, the COVID-19. And incidentally, we are discussing about health issue. I believe why you are here, perhaps you are part of the fight against polio, right from the beginning in Nigeria. That is the Rotary Internationally. Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
So after the program, we'll all come with our caps in hands. Maybe Rotary will do something for the COVID-19 fight, even face masks, which you've been distributing.
No, we are already doing so.
Thank you. Welcome. Yeah, Prof, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Many Nigerians woke up to get the news, and congratulations on Mr. President and Nigeria in general, and Nigerians too, on the certification of Nigeria as a polio-free nation. But not too many people understood or knew the fight that went on before we reached this feat. And talking about the Presidential Task Force at that time, 2008, quite a while ago, how has it been with the polio fight? We are so dedicated. It is now that people are realizing, so Nigeria was so serious about this polio fight, yes.
Absolutely, you are right. It's a long way. We've been coming from the period when the world succeeded in eradicating a disease. Before then, nobody knew that it would be possible to eradicate a disease,
yes.
And that was the smallpox. So the feat of the whole world to come together, all nations in the early 70s, 80s, to eradicate smallpox gave the world hope that then it should be possible to eradicate other diseases that, you know, we have a vaccine against, you know, that you could use, and then, you know, actually block the wild viruses from circulating among humans.
Yes.
So Nigeria did very well in that fight. In fact, the role of Nigerian doctors towards the end of the polio, the smallpox fight, was crucial in getting the world to get rid of that, you know, virus. We used to have Professors Fabi, Dr. E.A. Smith, and many other, you know, Nigerian doctors to show them where they did so well. You know, Professor Umaru Shehu, and also they contributed. They contributed immensely in getting smallpox out of circulation among humans. So the next thing is to say, okay, we have another disease that if we do the same as we did with the smallpox, we should be able to eradicate it. And the disease is not killing as many people as you will have been frightened. But it's maiming so many people, and it's very terrible public health menace that if we can put our heads together, then we can eliminate it or eradicate it. So the decision to get it done was endorsed by the World Health Assembly, and the fight started. Now in Nigeria, the first pilot project to see how we can reorganize our immunization program, started in Owo in 1983. Ransom Kuti, when he became the Minister of Health, now strengthened that fight. We launched a campaign, pilot campaign against measles, pertussis, diphtheria, and polio wasn't prominent that time. So that we can reach all our children, immunize them, and then protect them against these diseases. So the coverage was just about 20%. But when Ransom Kuti came, he decided to say, oh, listen, why don't we do all the antigens for the children and then try to attain what is referred to as universal childhood immunization. That is, any country that can immunize up to 80% of her children or children, will be endorsed by the WHO as a nation that has attained universal childhood immunization. You can't believe between 1983 and that 1988, Nigeria attained the universal childhood immunization.
Interesting. 5 years.
In 5 years, we were excellent. All antigens, we were 80%, including polio. So around this time, this came say, okay, let's now prioritize polio. Let's face polio and see, whether we can eliminate it as other countries are doing. So the story is too long. I will just say between 1988 and 1998, you cannot believe that more than 65-70% of wild polio virus was already knocked off in the world. So, and between 1998 and the year 2000, and let's say only a few countries, were left with polio. And these countries were mostly in Asia and Africa. Most European countries had eliminated wild polio virus by 1995. So to come back home and so that where we are,
yes,
Nigeria had no reason to eradicate polio so late. We had everything. We had the manpower, we had the money to buy the vaccines, we had support of all our donors, we have Rotary supporting us, but something came in. Because the immunization was oral immunization by mouth, and because it was easy to administer, so it was going everywhere.
Yes.
Suspicion came in, and people brought a conspiracy theory that, this forced immunization is being brought in so that the Muslim women will be sterilized, and the number of children they are born will reduce, and this affected our ability to...
Even initially, they say black women in totality.
Exactly. Initially black women. But later made it Muslim women. And so, in short, we had a setback. Then, the governments of the day started establishing, looking for ways, strategies, how to fight it. So they formed this task force, which I chaired, Professor Idris Mohammed chaired. I introduced something, that helped us to knock off almost 92% of the wild polio virus from that point, especially hitting the states that were, really bad. Kano, Kaduna, ETC, Sokoto. What is it that we did that, helped that type of something was that we brought in, the media and the theater into the fight.
Yes.
We brought in fact, one of you, Peter Ego, he did some whatever. We joined forces, brought in artists, brought in this, and so on and so forth. Then the second thing we did that I think changed, as it was the game changer, was bringing in the Sultan of Sokoto out to come and let everybody see that the Sultan has endorsed polio eradication. So I think the Nigerian government must acknowledge that great feat by the Sultan to get these things moving. So between this time I'm telling you to now, we should have cleared, let's say we should have been polio free by the year 2002. Am I right? 2002. But unfortunately, by the year 2012, only 3 countries were left in the world that were still having wild polio virus circulating. 4: Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, and Nigeria. And with that feat we made, we were almost getting out of those 4. Then the polio came back again. But I can now tell you that this feat, that Nigeria is not the last country in the world to eradicate polio, must be celebrated by us.
Yes.
It's a big feat. We congratulate Mr. President, we congratulate Nigerians, we congratulate Rotary, Bill Gates, Dangote, and all those who really
traditional
institutions, religious institutions, all Nigerians, for making this to happen. We have one, Professor Tomori, let me conclude with that. He is even a member of the certification committee worldwide. So his signature is on this, and I remember 1996 at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Lagos, he gave a talk. He said, I hope Nigeria will not be the last to eradicate polio in the world. So he was so worried, and anytime I see him, I said, I think we're getting to that your dream. He said, it will never happen. So when now we have succeeded in eradicating this virus from Nigeria and thereby from Africa, I was so happy, not only for Nigeria, but for him. Yes. Because he was so worried, he didn't want that to happen. So this is the story.
Well, thank you. Quite a long story. The fight was long too, actually. Well, Dr. Mustafa, what brought Rotary into it, and what were the struggle that you were part of as a Rotary International in the polio eradication that you think was very apt, kind of? Yes.
Thank you very much. It's better to believe than never. That is just to start with one of the things highlighted by Prof. Well, the Rotary and polio eradication started in the late 70s in the Philippines. Our motto in Rotary is service above self. And when we are coming up with any service intervention, we always do what we call needs assessment. So Rotarians in the Philippines realized that many children were being paralyzed. And they came up with a country project to eradicate polio in the Philippines and applied, as usual, to the foundation for assistance. And Rotary said, this will be a very wonderful project. And they supported Rotarians and Rotary clubs in the Philippines. And the remarkable achievement of that pilot led to the idea that, wow, if this is possible in the Philippines, it is also possible to do it globally. And because of that remarkable achievement, Rotary approached WHO in the 80s, precisely around 1985. And WHO was, I'm sorry to use that word, very pessimistic at the beginning. And they told Rotary, okay, they will be ready to support the WHO. However, they came up with the costing, which went to about 120 million that time. And within 1 year, Rotary International raised $240 million. And they said, oh, wow. So that showed to WHO that Rotary International was ready to confront polio, to come up with polio eradication. Polio Plus, when you hear Rotary International Polio Plus, was founded, was launched in 1985. And in 1988, the World Health Assembly adopted that vision. And what we refer to as the Global Polio Eradication Initiative was launched in 1988.
Yes.
And the first set of the the polio eradication partners include Rotary International, the WHO, CDC, and UNICEF.
And they were all part of the fight here in Nigeria.
Yeah.
They were up
Okay.
to the end.
So from macro to micro,
Yes.
how did you inject those facilities in Nigeria's fight?
Well, you see, it's a global fight. However, if you see today, when we talk of the polio eradication initiative partners,
Yes.
we have brought in Dangote, the Gates Foundation, Gavi, all these partners came in to join the original partners when but you see, the initial target to eradicate polio was actually 1980. Year 2000.
Yes, 2000.
A target of 15 years was set. But we realized by the year 2000 that, look, the fight was still, far away from being, the battle was far away from being won because of some of the challenges enumerated by Prof. Now, let us come to Africa. When other parts of Europe and America became successful, they eradicated polio in the 90s and thereabout, the late South African president, Nelson Mandela, the Madiba himself, spearheaded what we call Kick Polio Out of African project in 1996, and that made all African head of states to be committed to confronting the war against polio eradication frontally. And of course, that gingered local activities in various countries. And by the grace of God, we are here now. All those challenges that we had in the early 2000s, in the mid 2009, 2010, all the controversies were those things that set us back. But as each of those controversies came up, it also led to strategic redirection.
Yes.
Like the NTLC, the Northern Traditional Users Council, was formed in year 2009 as a response to the need to get the grassroots involved.
Yes.
And that was one of the game changer, because the traditional rulers, the religious institutions, the religious leaders were able to join and take the fight to the grassroots at community levels, and all those resistance, we started to break all the barrier.
Yes, and in development, especially in the governance of a nation, we all talk about continuity. Let's take a look at the political will in governance with the successive administration right from that particular time and now in a short note, so that the program Moment for Thought is, and when you are talking about health experts, you continue to see, where do I stop this particular person. But in a short note, how do you see the political will that has been sustained over this time, Prof?
I will say that if there is anything that most of the leaders in Nigeria are committed to, and without any, with no shaking, is to contribute to the improvement of the health of Nigerians. So all the past leaders, were very committed right from the time the program was launched during Babangida's time, and every other leader that comes, have done something very significant. Like when Abacha came, we even upgraded, the government's responsibility to immunizing our children. Before, you heard about expanded program on immunization. It was as if it was UNICEF that was running it for us. So we now came and said, there was no budget. I was in the Ministry of Health. You don't see any fixed budget for vaccines for Nigerian children. It was UNICEF that was getting vaccine for us, and we said no. Nigerian government must immunize their own children and put our money. So we had to change even the name from expanded program immunization to NTA. It was launched by Abuja, and it was really wonderful. Then the next leaders that came, did so well, all of them, up to the current leader. They contributed immensely in childhood immunization and also in this polio eradication. There was a period we had element that was very embarrassing. The more money that was pumped into childhood immunization, the less coverage we're having.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah, and that's why when we're now bringing in Bill Gates, how we did it. And the first thing I was first to make the presentation to Bill Gates as to Nigerian status. So I told him, we're not bringing you here because of your money, but we're bringing you here because of your name. You know, because here is it. You know, the more money we pumped into immunization, the less we had. So commitment of the government's continuity was there. But this is the time not to relax.
Yeah, this is the time that we will go to that, but it's still commitment of government. With even demonstration, I remember Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, he even demonstrated physically by immunizing his grandchildren. So how do we continue from there?
Honestly speaking, I think this certification presents a very good opportunity to say a very big thank you to a lot of individuals. And I want to start with our president. The exemplary leadership demonstrated by Mr. President General Muhammadu Buhari with that immunization of his granddaughter was quite remarkable. At least it was a clear demonstration that, this thing is very safe.
It's acceptable.
After all. The Ministry of Health, the National Primary Care Development Agency, in fact, I will describe the commitment of the honorable ministers, not even just the current one, as fatherly commitments.
Yes.
They were so committed to the cause. Not to talk of the passion and the dedication of
and
Ministry of Health and Primary Care. The what? The fourth estate. Of course, the media. In fact, you know, Alhaji Barau, I want to take this opportunity to even thank a section of the media that puts us on our toe by coming up with all these other side story, conspiracy theory, because with each theory, you know, each theory used to bring another strategic redirection.
Yes.
We were very close to eradicating polio in 2010. The failure of that brought NTLC, the Traditional Research Council, in 2012. The challenges we had gave birth to the National Emergency Operations Center, which started then, and it was like a war room where the dashboards and everything were being monitored. So kudos to the frontline workers, especially women who travel by any means to get to the nook and crannies of this country to immunize the children. Not to talk of the partners and donors with very large hearts that put money on the table and a lot of incentives and encouragement. Yes. And I think those who paid the supreme sacrifice, those who lost their lives, will continue to remember them. Their body will be turning in their graves now, celebrating this remarkable feat.
Well, thank you very much. I would like to be home based now.
Yes.
We have all sorts of programs we developed in NTA and polio eradication, which I think he was our customer, so to speak. Well, thank you very much. I know we continue to discuss about, to eulogize the feats. We wouldn't finish this program. But there's one very vital issue which you brought, which will continue in the next segment of the discussion. You talk about that is not time. In fact, this is the right time that we should not sleep and continue with the whole 5 years. Well, we'll continue with the discussion perhaps in the next edition of the program. Thank you very much, Professor Nasidi.
Thank you
for being our guest once again.
Thank you very much.
And may God help you with the fight against COVID-19 so that we attend such feat too.
Thank you.
Dr. Kazim Mustafa, thank you very much for coming here. And, you know, talking about your field, as a physician, you're always looking at person how does this man feel? How is the portfolio attacking this and that? And as a virologist, you say there are certain things that is hovering on the air. So I know the combination is good. Thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you
for having us. Thank you very much.
Well, that has been a moment for thought on Nigeria's feet on its certification as a polio-free nation. Thank you for watching. We'll continue with the discussion on what do we do next, because this is another opening. As one door closes, another one opens. But when it opens this time around, it's total and complete eradication, which we've done now, so that we sustain the feat. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News.
A national communion.
And there's the start and get.
Archbishop of basketball, goal! He hung on that net like a stalk up a tree.
NTA Sports 24 brings you all sports, all time and all day. Tune in to watch NTA Sports 24 on Star Times Channel 270, StarSat on Channel 434 and Free TV on Channel 731. NTA Sports 24, where sports thrive.
This week on Executive